This is Robert Neberger for the CIT 260 Object-Oriented Programming Final Project Presentation. I have a summary of this presentation would be items that I will be discussing. I'll be discussing the differences between static and non-static variables, an array versus array list versus enum, how to use for and for each loops, how to throw, propagate, and catch errors, character stream class over a byte stream class to read-write data file, and a character data to external file. Game demonstration is at the end for the city of Erin. So first of all, I talk about the static variable. The keyword static lets a method run without any instance of the class. A static method belongs to the class, so there's no need to create an instance of the class to access it. To create a static method in Java, you prefix the static keyword before the name of the method. The non-static variable is a little bit different. A non-static method does not have the keyword static before the name of the method. A non-static method belongs to an object of the class, and you have to create an instance of the class to access it. The non-static method can access any static method and any static variable without creating an instance of the class. And as you can see below, there's an example of that. And then using an array is a static in size that is fixed length data structure. One cannot change the length after creating the array object. Array can contain both primitive and data types, as well as objects. Each array object has a length variable, which returns the length of the array. And as you can see below, with the create tools, you can see how the array is set up with that for each of the instances of for the shovel, hoes, axe, saws, and hammers, and then and all the other aspects of that. Using array list. Each array list object has an instance variable, capacity, which indicates the size of the array list. As elements are added to the array list, its capacity grows automatically. Array list cannot contain primitive data types like int, float, double. It can only contain objects. The length of the array list is provided by the size of the method. So as you can see below, we've got the create animals list, and you can see the array as listed below. And you have the instance of what it is, 12, 3, 7, 4 for each of the items that are in the array list. Now using an enum. Enum has a constant unchanging values. All items are the same data type. Enums have a fixed size length, have an assigned value or object to every position in the array when created. Public enum, and as you can see, it has the item type, and then it has the constant unchanging value of animal, tools, and provisions. And then we have the use of a for loop. Loop through array starting at the index position 0, that's where it begins, and it continues from 0 rather than 1. Repeat the block of the code while it is less than the length of the array, and use the I to increment after the repetition of the loop. So you can see below, we got the for, and then the I equals 0, and the I increments the tool's length by 1. So you got the tool name, tools get name, so it will get the name and tools count, and get the tools, incrementing each of those with the quantity. And then down below it has this console, which will print the tools count plus the description of what the tool name is. Use of for each loop. Define the variable which will point at the current array element. The variable reference that is being iterated through and block of code will be repeated for each element of the array, no index. And then as the example I have down below, we've got the inventory item tools, and then you have the rest of the array listed there with the elements there. And you have the count, the long total, and you got the for loop for the each on that. And then catching runtime errors to throw, propagate, and catch them. Throw is an exception if the function detects a runtime error. Exception is propagated back up and calls stack to the method. It catches and handles the error. So I got two examples of code here. Public static void, test input, throws, and then this one's for the storehouse control exception. If, and then it has the inputs equals, and then it will throw a new exception, and then the exception that it has for this particular one would be no name entered, returning to the reports menu. And then that will kind of display so the person in the game will know what's happening. And then we have it continue on, the try, and then it continues on to the next part of it. So if it does go out correctly, it says the tool report was saved as, and I have the name of the file name the person entered in. And then a catch at the end with the message if it returns false. Rewrite data to file, the byte stream class. Convenient means of handling input and output of bytes. Reads and writes binary data 1 byte at a time in sequential order. Support ASCII formatted character data. Does not support Unicode. Helpful for working with the files. And then we got also for the character data or character stream class. This is designed for handling input-output of characters. Supports Unicode and can be internationalized and can be more efficient than bytestream. And it has some example of the code as it writes data to the external file. This part of it is that you want to get the name of the file to save, call the function, and create a report to write it to a file, and display a success message to inform the report is written to a file. And then the examples of this is that we got that try statement here of the storehouse control, and it will input the file name and report that the tool report is saved as, and it has the name of the file name, and then report that, and then display that report below to confirm that it has been saved. Write data to file example. Now this is another example of writing data. This is the crop report view of another way you can display the data that you have in there. So in this particular one, it will print out the year, it will get that year information, acres owned, and this is at the current position of where you are in the game, wheat in store, the population, it will display all this information as the report, and then it has the format down below and how it's going to show that the year is, etc. And you own a certain amount of acres of land and the bushels of wheat in the store and so on. And lastly, the population. So I want to go through a game demonstration of the city of Erin to give you a better idea of that everything is working and functioning in this game. So I'm going to bring up my NetBeans over here, and I'm going to go ahead and start the game. Okay, so down here below we have the game for the city of Erin. So I'm going to go ahead and start this. So first of all, I'm going to choose one to start a new game, and it has the introduction to the game. And it says, please type in your first name. So I'll go ahead and put that in there. And it says, welcome, have fun playing, and it gives you the main menu. And that this game menu here, it gives you 5 different options. I'm going to run through some of these. So first of all, I'm going to view the map. So it displays the map. And then 2, I'm going to view the list. And then here we go. We have the list menu, and this shows you, first of all, the development team, the animals, tools, provisions, and everything. And you also saved the list of animals to a local disk as an example. So I'm going to run through a couple of these. So first I'm going to list the development team. And it shows the individuals who helped out on my group. And then I'm going to list the animals in the storehouse. And it displays all of those in there. And then we got the tools and provisions and so on. So I'm going to go and back up, select option 6 to the game menu. And as you can see, it takes me back. And then we're going to manage the crops. So I'm going to choose number 4. And that gives me the quick little report of where I'm at. So that way you can kind of, as you play, know what you own, and the bushels of wheat you have, the population, and the price of how much the bushels are selling for. So how many acres of land do you wish to buy? I'm going to do 20. How many acres of land do you wish to sell? I'm going to do, how about 10? How much wheat would you like to give to the people? And I'm going to do 0. And it's, again, then it gives me a quick little report of what I'm down to. And it says, how many acres would you like to plant? I'm going to do 100. And there we go. You now own and you have planted 1,000 acres of land total. So there we go. And it takes you back to the main menu once I'm completed. Now I'm going to go ahead and go back to the 5, which will take me to the main menu. And yeah, the main game menu. Then I'm going to go ahead and save my game. So option 4. And then it gives me a save game menu. And I'm going to choose option 1 to save the game. And it's going to ask me the name of it. I'm just going to give it my name. And then I'm going to do 2018. And the game has been saved. Now I'm going to choose 2 to return to the previous menu. And then I'm going to go ahead and choose option 2 to get and start a saved game. So I'm going to choose 2. And it says please enter an option. So I'm going to put in my saved game name. There we go. So as you can kind of see, everything seems to be running accordingly with the game. So I'm going to go ahead and back out. So I would like to go ahead and thank you. This has been a great presentation. I hope that you're able to learn and see what I've learned over this course of this semester. Thank you very much.